Hello, welcome back to my channel. If I am looking haggard, it is because I am dealing with a sick toddler, which is why my uploads have not been that consistent amongst other just life, Christmas and other stuff going on. So even though I was really good those first 8 days, I had a feeling something was going to happen, but I'm still committed to doing all 12 days of my Bookmas. They just might not be coming out day after day perfectly, but they will come out before Christmas, that's for sure. So I think we're on Bookmas day 11. So honestly, I really only have 2 of these. We'll see what my end of the year videos are going to be. I think I'm going to make a couple because I really love doing kind of reading wrap-ups, and this has been quite the year of reading for me. I thought something today, I kind of wanted to do something I didn't have to find all the books for and prep and think about. So I thought I would just look at my Storygraph stats so far and kind of see just what my initial reactions and initial thoughts about my reading this year. And then obviously I think in my bigger wrap-ups, I'll probably kind of formulate these thoughts that I'm going to have. Okay, we are starting again where I left off as I was talking about how I have 3 different kind of book logging accounts that I use. Goodreads, of course, it's been the longest one that I've had, and it's probably the most popular. Then I have Storygraph, and then I have Fable, which is kind of like the new kid on the block. I'll tell you what I like about all of them and what I don't like and why I can't 100% commit either way. Goodreads, it's tried and true. Yes, there are some things that I don't love about it that don't make sense, but it basically has everything I want except for down to the nitty-gritty stats. And it's easy to discover other people, not easy, but it's easiest to discover other people to follow on Goodreads compared to the other 2. And I just feel like I can get everything that I need to at a glance on Goodreads. Storygraph I love because it is woman-owned, I believe. I think it's a minority woman-owned as well. So I love the idea of that. It's just not, the user interface isn't the friendliest. I don't love looking at it. Sometimes I have to search the page just to find the rating and figure out what I'm looking for. And it's very hard, at least for me, to discover other people unless you go into the reviews of a book and then find someone randomly. So I will say discoverability on Storygraph is not great, but the stats are wonderful, which is basically why I keep Storygraph, is for the stats. And then Fable, honestly, Fable is aesthetically cool, and you can kick out some really cool graphics from Fable. And I think the main aspect of Fable is the book club feature. But if you are not doing or you're not actively involved in book clubs, just as a reading app, I don't think it's great. It's very hard to, for example, you finish a book. The way I like to do it is I will finish a book, I will rate it, and then I add it to a list. So usually I add it to the year list. So I have a 2024 list, and then you can add it to other, shelves is what it would be called on Goodreads, but you can add it to other lists really easily. On Fable, if you go on the app and you update your progress, you mark it as finished, and then you have to go into your finished list. So you have to get out of there, go to your finished list, and then rate it and give it a review. Then you give it a review. And then you have to go back to the book, and then you have to update the lists that it is included on. So there's a lot of extra steps on Fable that I don't love for tracking my reading. But it is the newest popular app, and so I kind of like to see what's going on there. I also like that they have a TV function on there to kind of track your TV. I don't know if they do movies, but you can do your viewing stuff on there as well. But I don't really use it that much because I think it's kind of hard to track that because there's so many more episodes and things to track. Also, discoverability on Fable is not great. It's probably better than Storygraph, but if you've made one review on one book, you're going to get, and it's a popular book, something from Throne of Glass, you're going to get 1 million people that are going to be suggested to you that will review on Throne of Glass, whether you liked it or not. And until you ignore that book, that's all you're going to see. And you get random people that get thrown on your feed to discover. But a lot of times I don't match up well. So the algorithm is not algorithming for me there. And when I do find people's profiles, I've noticed that there's not a lot of like, at least I haven't come across as avid of reader as I am. There's a lot of people on there that are casual readers, which is totally fine. But I want to connect with people that are reading similar books and similar amounts, because if I see somebody there that hasn't read a book in 6 months, but they read like a book in January, like that's just not somebody I'm going to connect with on Fable. And when I do find people, well, I really haven't really found a lot of people that have read more than like 4 books a month on there. And like I said, I think that just has to do with algorithm, and the discoverability is not great. So that was my little rant breakdown of the apps and why I have all three. But today we are going to focus on Storygraph because I do want to look at my stats. Okay, so I'm recording now. As you can see, this is kind of like my homepage, I guess. Right now I'm reading Liberation Day. So let's go up to stats. So this is my 2024 stats. So I love this about Storygraph that you can pick by month. And so we'll go down. So far I read 96 pages, and that's been 34,381 pages. So I'll definitely hit probably 35,000 pages by the end of this year, which is really cool to see that. And it says average time to finish has been 4 days, which I would say that's fair. I think that's pretty accurate. And then we have our moods breakdown. Obviously, I'm a very emotional reader. I read a lot of memoirs and a lot of sad books, so that probably makes sense. A lot of lit fic that has to do with emotional things. And then it looks like my next biggest is dark. So it must be like my dark academias, my fantasies. And then third is reflective. So probably my memoirs. And then pace is how quickly I've read it. So medium, slow, fast. So I've read most of my books at a medium pace for me, whatever that means. The slow is probably my November month, where it took me forever to finish Intermezzo. And then let's go down to page number. Most of the books I read are medium length, which is 300 to almost 500 pages. And then I've read 13 books that are 500 plus pages, which is pretty impressive. Those are big books. And then 34 that were less than 300, so 300 or less. Fiction, nonfiction, I would like to get this nonfiction number up next year because I really enjoy nonfiction. I just really haven't prioritized it because I think I was trying to get through a lot of series this year, and I was trying to explore fantasy more. So 78 of the books I've read so far are fiction, 18 were nonfiction. And then we go down to my genres. Literary has always been my top valued, or my top genre. And then fantasy is second, which is new for me because I don't feel like I read a lot of fantasy, but I made a point to read the Throne of Glass series and read a lot of popular fantasies this year to kind of see what's up, you know? And then memoirs make sense because I love a memoir. Only ones that kind of stand out to me are young adult. It's kind of high for me. I don't read a lot of young adult, but I think that was like Cruel Prince and Once Upon a Broken Heart, a lot of those young adult fantasy series that were really popular. And then graphic novel, I never read graphic novel, but I was really trying to make it a goal to read more this year. I initially wanted to read one graphic novel a month, but kind of just got away from me. I think that was a little ambitious. Since I'm not in love with graphic novels, I was just kind of trying it out. So I would still read graphic novels, but I don't think I would read them once a month. Everything else looks pretty normal, pretty typical for me. Oh, and then this is my breakdown. This is probably not accurate because I got really bad at tagging which books I was doing digitally and which were audiobooks. So that's probably not super accurate. My top authors is Sarah J. Maas. I'm kind of like not proud of that, but makes sense because I read the whole Throne of Glass series this year. It was a goal of mine the end of last year to read Throne of Glass because I hadn't read anything from her. And I was like, if I'm going to read anything, it's going to be Throne of Glass from what I know about the series, why that number's so high. I'm glad I read the series, but I don't think I'm missing out on anything with her. I don't think she's for me. Then Blake Crouch was second at 3 because I read that Wayward Pines trilogy, which I highly recommend. And then I read a bunch of Leigh Bardugo this year, and I hadn't ever read Leigh Bardugo before. I actually really like her and will continue to read her. And then just a couple other authors here. It's funny to see Keanu Reeves. I read his book with China Miéville, the Book of Elsewhere. And then I also read his graphic novel that Book of Elsewhere was based off of. So that's why I have 2 for him. This one's kind of surprising. I'm trying to think why I have 2 from this author. But I only have 1 book here. Must be some kind of glitch with Storygraph. See, that sometimes kind of worries me about these stats because you have little glitches like that. And this is like my overall reading for the year. Definitely had my high month in May. And then October, I was reading tons of like really fun Halloween thriller, spooky stuff. So that makes sense. Definitely dipped in the summer month of June and July because I was like traveling and doing things. So it's kind of hard to read. Then I kind of slumped. And then this month, I haven't been reading a whole ton. I've been reading a lot of short stuff just to hit my goal. But that will go up some when the actual year ends. It's only halfway through the month right now, or less than halfway. Average ratings. This I need to change because I've been trying to stick to whole star ratings, like 2, 3, 4, 5, no 2.5s, no 3.5s, no halves, or quarters for that matter, because I'm trying to keep it cohesive across all of my tracking websites. So in Goodreads, you can only do full stars. So, and then I don't know if you can do quarters on Storygraph or only halves. You could probably do quarters, and then you can do quarters on Fable, but I'm trying to keep it consistent. So I think I rated a couple on halves on Storygraph, which I shouldn't have. I should have just rated it a 3 or 4, what I rated it on the other website. So this is kind of skewing it. But if we ignore that, I had a lot of 3 stars, which isn't great because those are okay books to me. They're entertaining enough, but there's nothing that I'm going to like recommend or go back to on those. But my 4 and 5 combined is 48, so it's more than 3. So if I combine my 4 and 5 stars, which I consider good reads that I really enjoyed, then it would be higher than 3. So, it's not a bad month. I usually never rate anything below a 2 because if I finish the book, I'd probably at least give it a 2. If I don't finish it and I don't like it that much, I wouldn't rate it. And that would probably be 1 stars, would be DNFs. If I finished it, then I at least give it a 2 because I was okay enough to finish it or see it to the end. But I think I've gotten more generous as the year has gone on with my ratings. Or maybe I haven't because I've had more to compare to as the year has gone on. I don't know. That'll be interesting to kind of look at the breakdown of these. I don't think they have that stat here, but it would be kind of fun to do on my own and see, did I rate most of these 4 and 5 stars in the beginning half of the year or the second half of the year? That is my Storygraph. Nothing crazy there. I'm definitely gonna take a bigger dive once I finish the books for December and hit 100, and it'll make it kind of clean. And I'll probably go through and change these to make them more accurate and figure out why I'm getting some errors here. But that was just kind of my initial reaction and an initial look at my stats for the year so far, which is going to be mainly what it's going to be after the next couple books I read. That was kind of my thoughts on the apps and the tracking and my stats so far. And I hope you enjoyed it. I know this is kind of just a quick reactionary general chit chat video, which I guess a lot of my Bookmases have been, but it's just been real tough for me the last few days, like I said, with a sick toddler and a bunch of other things going on. So I just wanted to kind of do something really light and easy and no planning. So that's kind of what this has been. But I still really appreciate you being here. I'm finding other little pockets of people that are reading the same things that I am and enjoying the same things. So that's really fun to see. And as always, I really, really appreciate you being here and thank you so much. And if you liked it, please give me a thumbs up or subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.